Hello, everybody. This is Connie Joe with Soul Navigation, and welcome to part 2 of Venus sign compatibility. So you may ask, why is Venus sign compatibility so important? Venus isn't just what we find attractive or how we decorate our home or the artwork we enjoy. It's also our values, what we really value in our life, what is important to us. And it is our money, how we handle our money, how we spend our money, how we invest our money. So it's really important to know someone's Venus sign and if the two Venus signs are compatible. And if they're not really compatible, some things that you can do to understand your person, whether this be a partner in a committed relationship, a business partner, one of your children, so that you can better understand their Venus sign personality. So I have already done part 1. This would be Aries through Virgo. Please go back and watch that video, especially if your Venus is in one of those signs. And I may get a little bit repetitive, so forgive me for that, but I want each sign to have a chance to hear what their Venus is compatible with every other sign. I'm going to go through each sign, including their own Venus sign, to see what works. So you'll be able to go to the timestamps to find the Venus sign that's just for you. And one other tip, if you really don't know someone's Venus sign, Venus is never more than 45 degrees away from the sun. If you know their sun sign, there's a good chance you can figure out their Venus sign. For example, if their sun is in Capricorn, their Venus will probably be in Sagittarius, Capricorn, or Aquarius. So just a little tip to maybe figure someone out if you want to. So let's get started with Libra. Okay, so Libra is cardinal air. They're a cardinal air sign, so they start things, usually things that are relationship oriented. Venus loves to be in Libra. That's one of its home signs along with Taurus. One of the things that Venus Libra values the most is relationships. They like to have connections with other people. That is what they value. They value beautiful artwork, beautiful clothing. They like beauty. Also, the Libra Venus is the peacemaker. They want things to be balanced. They want things to be harmonious. And I say this a lot about Libra. And one of the reasons I say this is because I have a daughter who has 5 placements in Libra. They want things to be fair. Making things fair, that is one thing they value the most, that a situation is fair or they are fair with the other people in their lives. In money, Libra, they will invest in their partner for one thing. They will invest in themselves, maybe in clothes or things that make them beautiful. Those are a couple of things that they will invest in. Natural diplomats might find a good investor for them to actually invest their money in crypto or whatever stock or whatever savings is good for them. But usually their spending habits are balanced, just like Libra, just like the scales. And they're pretty good with partnerships about sharing their money, putting their partner first, buying for other people. That's one thing that a Venus in Libra enjoys doing. So how do they get along with the other Venus signs? First, let's look at the trine. The other 2 air signs, Aquarius and Gemini. So a trine is a harmonious aspect where all 3 air signs, they make a trine, a triangle together, and it's the energy flows, but the air energy flows together. So how do they get along with Gemini? For the most part, I think these 2 Venus signs get along very well together. They're both cerebral. They both understand each other on an intellectual level. But at the same time, Gemini might be a little bit quick to spend their money. Gemini can have a lot of scattered energy in a good way, though. It's like they're ruled by Mercury. So they're thinking about a lot of different things at a lot of different times. So their energy, their Venus energy may be just a little bit scattered for Libra. And also, Gemini and Venus and Gemini is a very social sign. And Libra can be too, but they're pretty focused on their partner or the person they're with, on the relationships in their lives. But for the most part, these two Venus signs get along well together. Our other air sign, we have Aquarius. Aquarius is fixed air. Aquarius energy can be a bit more stubborn than Libra energy. Also, Aquarius, although, as I said, all air signs, they're all cerebral, they're all very intellectual, but Aquarius is more likely to be more innovative, especially in their spending habits. They value humanitarian efforts, they value friendships very much. So that could make Venus and Libra just a little bit jealous if their Aquarius partner has way too many friends, maybe friends that are of the same sex. That could bring a little bit of jealousy in for Libra. But again, for the most part, these two air signs get along well together, and there's nothing within these two Venus signs that can't be worked out. So let's go to the opposition, the one that's directly on the other side of the zodiac, and that's Aries. Venus and Aries can be a bit impulsive for our Libra Venus. Now, I think these two can get along quite well. Both are cardinal signs. We have cardinal air and cardinal fire. They really mix well together, except there's an impulsiveness, a sense of adventure that Aries has, and Libra had rather keep things a little bit more harmonious and balanced. I think on the money side of things, that's where things could get dicey, that Aries may make some risky investments. They are willing to take risk a lot more than Libra is. But again, this is a combination that can work. They can actually work things out and get on the same page, not only regarding money, but also what they value. Aries really does value adventure and pioneering. They have that pioneering spirit. And if Libra can handle that and still work with that within the relationship, I think this could actually work out pretty well. So let's look at our signs that are in a square or a challenging aspect to Libra Venus. And these would be the other two cardinal signs. We have Capricorn, cardinal earth, and we have Cancer, cardinal water. So let's take Cancer first. So Cancer really values their home and their family. They don't mind spending money on their family or decorating their home. Cancer is, although it's a cardinal sign and it's very strong, it can be very sentimental, sweet, traditional. Libra may not be as traditional as Cancer, but they can get on board as long as Cancer keeps their home and family and the relationship in balance. So I actually think this is another sign combination that can work, even though they're in a challenging aspect to each other. If Cancer can understand that Libra, most important for them is harmony and relationships, and Libra can understand that home and family are really important to the Cancer Venus, then I think these two can get on board with each other and work things out. So we have our Venus in Capricorn. Again, I don't think that this is a bad combination. Maybe a little bit challenging because Capricorn may be a little bit, they're not stingy by any means, but Venus and Capricorn might like security a little bit more than Libra. Libra is actually probably, it would probably take more risk than a Capricorn would, than the Capricorn Venus. But Libra loves the relationship factor, and Capricorn wants something solid. Now, here's where there might be some differences because Libra being an air sign, it is more social. It likes to get out more. Not saying that Capricorn doesn't like to get out and do things, but they want something very solid and stable. But then if we look at Libra's balanced, harmonious side, this can actually work out. I think they just start things very differently. Libra being more relationship oriented, and Capricorn could be a little bit more career oriented or maybe a little bit more ambitious than Libra. I think one thing with these two Venus signs, spending time together could be a factor. A Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, it wants things in order. It wants things to be very responsible. And Libra may not like that. They want to be number one. So these two signs can work as well, even though it could be a bit challenging, but at least you know what the challenge is with these two signs. So let's look at the two signs that are sextile to Libra. So this just means that they are the same gender. So Libra is actually a masculine sign, and so is Sagittarius, and so is Leo. So they're one sign apart, and so they do have something in common. So let's take Sagittarius. Okay, so Sagittarius really does love freedom. And this might bother Libra a bit because the Libra Venus really values that closeness in relationships. They want that partner that's with them. It keeps them balanced. It really does. It keeps a Libra balanced. And Sagittarius may be a little bit too adventurous with their Venus for them. Also, they are another sign that will take risk when it comes to money. Although Sagittarius Venus can be quite lucky, it might be a little bit much for the Libra Venus. But all in all, they understand each other pretty well. If Libra can get over Sagittarius needing to have that freedom, needing a little bit more room to breathe, and they may actually decorate quite differently as well. But that is something that could be worked out. So we have Leo. I actually love Leo Venus with Libra Venus. I've seen this work out in real life a lot because Leo, they, as long as someone is loyal to them, loyalty is one of the things they value the most. And Libra will be loyal to Leo. And these are two signs that look good together. This is like the two movie stars walking into a room, the movie star couple that are fashionably dressed. And this isn't for all Libras and Leo Venuses, but for a lot of them, they dress well. They're a bit dramatic. Now, if Libra can handle some of the drama that Leo has sometimes, then this is another combination that actually works really well. Not that Leo is always dramatic, but they're feisty. They're prideful. And if Libra can deal with that, then I think this can work out. So next we're going to go to our two signs that are in a quincunx or an inconjunct to Libra. Now these are signs that are 5 signs apart. I believe it's 150 degrees, and they really don't have anything in common. So it's called an inconjunct or a quincunx. So we have Taurus and we have Pisces with Libra. Believe it or not, y'all, both of these actually work out really well. Again, this is something I've seen in real life. So let's take Taurus, our fixed earth. So Taurus is also ruled by Venus. So already Libra and Taurus have a little something in common. Although they don't share a modality, although they don't share an element, they both have Venus in common. Both of them enjoy beauty. They both enjoy art in different ways, maybe, but they can definitely get on the same page with that. Taurus is very grounded, and I think Libra likes that. They like to have someone in their life that's grounded, that's there for them. So I actually like that combination. And then we have Pisces that are mutable water sign with Libra, our cardinal air. Now, this one is interesting, but again, Pisces is go with the flow energy. They enjoy Libra's harmony and balance and the beauty that they enjoy. They see the beauty in that. Both signs can be very generous and very giving. And I've really seen this work out a lot in my astrological journeys. So don't count this one out at all. This one can actually work. And finally, we have our two next door signs. So the two signs that are before and after Libra, which is Virgo and Scorpio. So let's take Virgo first, our mutable earth sign. I think Libra sometimes can be a little bit too social for Virgo. Virgo is analytical. They're ruled by Mercury. Their Venus is thrifty. Libra may want to spend a little bit more money than Virgo does, or Virgo may want to save a little bit more than Libra does, however you want to put it. But I think as far as values are concerned, they can get on the same page. Virgo is a very caring sign, having Venus there. Even though Venus in traditional astrology doesn't really enjoy being in Virgo, it's actually one of the most caring placements. And Libra Venus likes that. So yes, that can work too. And now we have Scorpio with our Libra. Okay, so Scorpio Venus is very passionate. Okay, Libra Venus can handle that. But now Scorpio Venus can be a little bit jealous and possessive. And Libra likes the room to be social, to harmonize with everybody. In that, there could be a little bit of a problem, but Scorpio is good with money. And that is the next sign we're really going to dig a little bit deeper into that. And I think Libra is probably, in most cases, happy to hand the financial reins over to Scorpio and let them make their investments. They're really pretty good at it. As far as values are concerned, Scorpio, once it does commit in a relationship, it's fixed water. It usually doesn't move much. And I think Libra appreciates that. Again, another combination that can work. Some of these combinations that don't seem like they would work in real life, they actually do. And finally, we have our Libra Venus with Libra Venus. Oh my gosh, I'll bet their home is absolutely gorgeous. Both of them loving art and loving beauty and loving each other. So, both of them, commitment and relationships meaning so much to both Libra Venus. This definitely works out. Let's move on to Scorpio Venus, our Venus in fixed water, ice, maybe. Okay, so Venus traditionally does not really love being in Scorpio. That is more of Pluto's and Mars realm, the Scorpio realm. So I think it gets a little uncomfortable there because it's very passionate. It's very intense. Scorpio is a very intense sign, and sometimes Venus is not as intense as Scorpio wants it to be. So it can be a little bit uncomfortable. It can be a little possessive. It can sometimes be a little jealous being with Venus in Scorpio. But let's switch it up a little bit. With money, Venus and Scorpio is actually pretty good. They have a good sense for investments. They just know what works financially. Scorpio really has a knowing about that kind of thing. I have a lot of respect for Scorpio in financial matters. They value power, they value passion. They want something very passionate. It has to be intense for Venus in Scorpio. One thing about this Venus sign is they really don't do superficial. They really want something deeper that, again, the word intense, they want something more intense. So a superficial really does not work for Venus in Scorpio. Another thing that they want and they expect and they value is loyalty. And in return, they will be loyal. Again, this is a Venus sign that's fixed. So once it commits to a relationship or whatever relationship that might be, it's very loyal until you give that Venus a reason not to be. Okay, so let's see how Scorpio Venus gets along with the other Venus signs. One more thing about Venus and Scorpio, they're interested in long-term wealth. Again, I have an appreciation for their way with money. They really do handle their money well for the most part. You have to look at the whole chart, right? Cancer and Pisces are the signs that are in a trine or harmonious with Scorpio, the other two water signs. So let's look at those first. So we have our Venus in Cancer. Venus in Cancer can be very loyal as well. As far as loyalty goes, that part works out pretty well when it comes to Scorpio and Cancer, their Venus signs. Cancer may want to invest a little bit more in the home, in the family, in real estate. And you know what? If Scorpio thinks it's a good investment, they will probably go along with it. And Cancer can almost match the intensity of Scorpio. If you pull Cancer out of their shell and they're in it to win it, they can match that passion and intensity that Scorpio has. I like this one. Pisces, our mutable water sign. Now, I think this one can work too. Venus and Pisces is very intuitive. It has this understanding of what other Venus signs want, what they value, what they need. Probably Pisces was ruled by Jupiter before Neptune was found. So it can also be lucky when it comes to money, when it comes to spending. So I think that part of Scorpio and Pisces works out well too. And I also think that Pisces is intuitive enough that it can understand Scorpio's need for passion, its need to go deeper. And I think most of the time, because Neptune, current ruler of Pisces, really doesn't have any boundaries, they're willing to go down that rabbit hole with the Scorpio Venus. So I like these. Okay, let's look at the sign in opposition that's exactly across of the zodiac from Scorpio, which is Taurus. Okay, so we have fixed Earth. I think, y'all, that this one can actually work pretty well because this fixed energy, I was talking about loyalty. Taurus can be just as loyal as Scorpio can. If they're on the same page on the loyalty factor, on their level of commitment, then this can actually work. And Venus and Taurus can just about match Scorpio Venus for its passion. I also think that Taurus likes money. Venus and Taurus, they like to make money. They enjoy it. That's part of who they are, being ruled by Venus. And Scorpio is good at making money and making wise financial decisions. Again, this is a combination that I actually like. I like oppositions for the most part. You might find me talking about a couple that I don't enjoy as much, but oppositions can actually really balance each other out pretty well. Okay, now we have our two signs that are in a square or a challenging aspect to our Scorpio Venus. And these are the two signs that are also fixed. We have Leo and we have Aquarius. Leo Venus and Scorpio Venus can make quite the power couple. Now, Venus and Leo may be a little showy for Venus and Scorpio, but Venus and Scorpio likes power. So the two of these actually mingle quite well together. They're a power couple. They really are when you have Venus in Scorpio and Venus in Leo together. Now, if there is a problem with money, or with what they both value loyalty, they both value passion, intensity. Leo wants intensity as well. So that part can work out. But if there is something along the way that the two signs don't agree on, it's a battle. because they're both fixed energy. So they both can be very stubborn about things. So let's look at Aquarius. I actually like this one too. I think Aquarius, Venus can be a little bit too cerebral for Venus in Scorpio, overthinking things. Also, Aquarius likes freedom. It's ruled by Uranus. It wants freedom and excitement, where Scorpio wants depth and passion. These two to me don't work as well as Leo does. Is it possible to make this one work? I think any sign combination is possible, but this one is a little bit tougher because Scorpio, I think their jealous side can come out when it comes to Aquarius. Aquarius really wants that freedom and they value friendships. And Scorpio's like, hey, I'm number one. And Aquarius is, no, I love everybody. Not always the case, but sometimes. You guys tell me. Leave me comments about how your Venus sign interacts with the other Venus signs. I'm just going by what I've seen and what I've not only seen in astrology, but I've reading about astrology, learning astrology, but have learned in real life with these Venus signs. So let me know what is really going on with your Venus signs. Okay, now we have the two Venus signs that are in a sextile or just two signs apart from Scorpio. They share the same gender. Scorpio is actually feminine, and so are Virgo and Capricorn. So let's take Capricorn first. I just want to say I think Scorpio and Capricorn, again, they have that power couple vibe. Scorpio Venus likes power. Capricorn Venus really wants to climb the ladder. It's ambitious. It likes power too. These two can definitely make it work. If there are any struggles at all, it's because the Capricorn Venus is not paying enough attention to the Scorpio Venus. And then we have Virgo. Now, this might seem, they are really different. Not so much, because they're water and their earth, for one, that works. But Virgo Venus can be a lot more passionate than you would probably give them credit for. I'm going to say that. And Scorpio likes that. And where Venus and Virgo can be very analytical. Scorpio likes that too. Let's figure out this money situation. Let's get it so we can make more. And I think they also have similar value systems. Okay, let's go to our inconjuncts or our quincunxes, our signs that really don't understand each other. They are 5 signs apart. And we have Aries and we have Gemini. I cannot tell you how many times that I have done compatibility charts with Venus in Scorpio and Venus in Gemini, and they work. Do I understand why they work? Not totally, because Gemini is mutable air and we have our fixed water. Gemini can be quite social, even a little scattered at times, although it's just because they're multitasking so much. They're spreading their Venus around, and Scorpio can get maybe a little jealous of that. I don't know why these two work so well together. I wish I did, except they're so different. There is a deep fascination for each other. I really think that is probably the best understanding I have of why these two Venus signs work. Again, leave me a comment if you're a Gemini or Scorpio Venus, or you are in a relationship of some kind with a Venus or Venus in Gemini or Venus in Scorpio. Okay, and then we have Venus in Aries with our Scorpio Venus. So these two signs actually have a little bit in common, because before Pluto came along, Scorpio was ruled by Mars and Aries is ruled by Mars. So both of these signs are go get 'em signs. Both signs willing to take risk financially, although Aries Venus might be a little too adventurous for the Venus and Scorpio, meaning they not necessarily in money, but in love, how they want to decorate. what kind of clothes they wear. They may be a little bit flashy for our Scorpio Venus. But again, this is a combination that can work. And finally, we have our two next door signs, the signs that are before and after Scorpio. So we have our Libra Venus and our Sagittarius Venus. So let's start with Sagittarius. This one is a little bit difficult, maybe. We've got another freedom loving sign here. And but when I say freedom loving, I don't mean that they're not faithful. That's not what I mean at all. But they like to have a certain amount of room. They like to have some space. Scorpio can be a little bit intense for Venus and Sagittarius. I think that's probably the biggest problem financially. I think they could probably work things out, get things together with that. And Sagittarius is also loyal. It's not that these mutable signs are not loyal. They just tend to be more social or want a little bit more freedom than Scorpio does, being fixed. So that might be one issue with Sagittarius Venus and Scorpio Venus. And then we have Venus in Libra. This one can actually work pretty well because Libra likes that passion and intensity that's coming from Venus and Scorpio. They can actually handle that, especially if this is a romantic relationship. This one could probably work. And I think Libra Venus appreciates the way that Scorpio Venus handles things financially as well. So I think when the Libra Venus and the Scorpio Venus can work. And finally, we have Scorpio Venus with Scorpio Venus. I think this one is, I almost don't even need to say a lot about this. Both very intense, both loyal. If they are in a committed relationship, again, it feels very powerful, both of these Scorpio Venuses. But if they come against something that doesn't work, ooh, what a standoff, because neither energy is going to move. When you've got a Scorpio with a Scorpio, it could get pretty intense and it could get pretty stubborn. But I think again, it's a power couple Venus situation with Scorpio Venus. So now we're going to get into our Venus in Sagittarius, our mutable fire sign Venus. So what do they value? Venus in Sagittarius, it loves to learn and go on adventures. It's curious. It wants to find out more about everything. It wants to understand how the universe works and how it relates to them. They value their personal freedom. They value their personal space. With money, they don't mind taking risks. I will say, for the most part, they'll take the risk. They may even like to gamble a bit. They love adventure, though. I think that's what they value the most. And they need a challenge. A Venus in Sagittarius needs to be challenged a little bit. And sometimes they can be very intellectual as well because it's ruled by Jupiter, the planet of optimism and expansion. That's another thing. Sagittarius Venus can be very optimistic, which is lovely until maybe we get to the Venuses that may not be quite as optimistic. Now, they can be very good with money, but they love to spend their money on travel and adventure, anything new and exciting. That's what Venus in Sagittarius likes. And their optimism is contagious. People like to be around a Venus in Sagittarius because they're optimistic for the most part, happy. And let's just see who they get along well with. What Venus signs go best with our Venus and Sagittarius? First, we have our two signs that are in a harmonious aspect, our other two fire signs that make a trine to our Sagittarius Venus, and we have Leo and Aries. And I have to say, I like these combinations because all being fire signs, Aries loves adventure too. Venus and Aries wants to take adventures. They're not afraid to take risks, just like Sagittarius Venus. And Aries is pretty independent as well. It needs its personal space too. So they both value freedom and personal space, adventures, and exploring the world. I really like Aries Venus with our Sag Venus. And we have Leo. Again, a Leo can be a little flashy and Sag doesn't care. The only problem with Venus and Leo and Venus and Sagittarius is they may actually spend too much money together going on their adventures and doing their explorations and learning more about life. As long as the Venus and Leo understands the Sag Venus's need for freedom or personal space, this definitely can work out really well. So let's look at our opposition, our Venus and Gemini, the two signs that are opposite on the wheel from each other. Gemini is mutable air, and of course, Sagittarius are mutable fire. So this is another combination that can work because, yeah, Gemini Venus is going to get right on the bandwagon with Sagittarius Venus and is going to want to go on the adventure with them and learn as much as possible too. In the axis of the traditional horoscope wheel, this is the learning axis. So they can actually learn a lot from each other. Although the Venus in Gemini is more mercurial, ruled by Mercury, it can also be very optimistic. These two Venus signs are very much live and let live two signs. And yes, these two Venuses can really work well together in this opposition. And now we have our two signs that are in a square with our Sagittarius Venus. So we have Pisces and Virgo. A square is a challenging aspect. All three are mutable signs, but we have water, earth, and fire. So they're actually pretty different. But let's see, how does Pisces Venus get along with the Sagittarius Venus? Actually, I think it can work pretty well. Both Pisces was once ruled by Jupiter before Neptune came along. Having that Jupiter energy coming from both signs, they both can be optimistic. They both can be adventurous and want to spend their time and money in adventure and travel. Pisces Venus is very intuitive, though, and they could be a little emotional for the Sag Venus. That could scare them just a little bit. But really and truly, these two Venus energies work well together, traveling the world, going and seeing different things like Gemini. The mutable signs, even with the challenging aspects, seem to do better than the fixed signs or even the cardinal signs. And this is why mutable energy isn't afraid to change or shift. So they're not as fixed and decisive as the other two modalities. Yes, I like that one. And then Virgo with our Sagittarius. Virgo may be a little bit too analytical and earthy for the Venus in Sag. Just saying that Sag kind of wants to do what it wants to with its money, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. And Virgo it wants the security more because it's an earth sign. So the money part of it could be a problem, but Virgo likes to learn and do things too. They do have an adventurous side to them. They can get on board with that Sag energy with this. But when it comes to money, Virgo doesn't like to take the risk that Sagittarius will take. And also, Virgo, sometimes it doesn't see the glass half full, it sees it half empty. So, this can sometimes be a problem as Virgo is more pragmatic, they're more practical than the Venus in Sagittarius. And that's about the only problem I can see with this particular square. And now we have our two signs that are sextile or two signs apart, and we have Libra and Aquarius Venus. So, how do they get along with Sagittarius? Let me tell you. Venus in Aquarius and Venus in Sagittarius could be partners in crime, partners in whatever, partners in adventure. I really like these two signs together. Both of these signs need a certain amount of freedom. They both value that personal space. Aquarius and Sagittarius both do. And if they are on the same page when it comes to money, Aquarius can be a little bit more humanitarian with things, maybe wanting to, but Sagittarius can too. Sagittarians are givers. They're that Venus sign. I actually think even that part of it can work out. And then we have our Libra Venus with Sag Venus, and this can work out too. Although Libra wants commitment. Relationships are so important to Libra, and that balance and harmony. And sometimes Sagittarius can be all over the place. They're like, they want to go here, they want to go there, they want to learn this, they want to know about this. And Libra's like, let's stay home and have dinner at home tonight. And Sagittarius is, no, I want to try the new Asian restaurant, the Indian restaurant, and the new Mexican restaurant. Libra can get on board with that. And this definitely can work when we have fire and air together. But maybe on the financial side, the Libra Venus is a bit more balanced than the Sag Venus. Next, we have our two signs that are in a quincunx or in conjunct. They are 5 signs apart with nothing in common. And let's see how that works with our Sagittarius Venus. So these two signs are Taurus and Cancer. This is where it gets interesting. Now, I see a lot of quincunxes that actually work well together, even though sometimes I don't understand why, but they do. Let's take our Taurus Venus. Okay, so Venus is at home in Taurus, likes to be there, but Taurus is fixed earth. And I think that they value that the practical side of things, the practical side of life. Absolutely, they value art and they value family and all of those things. But I think Taurus Venus is a little bit grounded for the Sag Venus that is always ready for the next adventure. And also, Taurus Venus can be a little bit possessive, which can be very hard for Venus and Sagittarius. Just something to think about. If you have this combination, let me know how it works for you. And then we have our Cancer Venus with Sagittarius Venus. This one's interesting as well. Although I've seen it work, I have seen this combination work together as long as Cancer understands the Sagittarius need for freedom, for independence, to have their adventures, to take their risks. And Sagittarius understands Cancer's need for sensitivity, to be at home some. It can work. But truly, Cancer, although they can be very adventurous, all signs can be, of course. I think that Sagittarius Venus may be a little bit much for them. Cancer can be very sensitive, and by that, very intuitive. Not that Sagittarius isn't intuitive, but sometimes their sentiment and their need to be traditional with our Cancer Venus is polar opposite of Sagittarius and their need to be innovative. Just again, something to think about. These are the two quincunxes with the Sagittarius sign that I think are a little bit more difficult. And finally, let's get to our next door signs. We have Capricorn and Scorpio, one on either side of our Sag Venus. So Capricorn Venus with Sagittarius Venus. Can this work? Maybe. I think Sagittarius likes Capricorn's ambition and ability to make money. But I think Capricorn can be a little bit too practical and also maybe a little too pessimistic for the Venus in Sagittarius. Now, this may not always be the case. It's going to depend on the whole chart. But when you have practical cardinal earth with mutable fire, adventurous fire, it doesn't really mix that well. But it's like I said, it depends on the whole chart. So don't get discouraged if your partner has a Capricorn Venus and you're a Sag Venus. And then we have Scorpio Venus with our Sagittarius Venus. And I think I talked about this during Scorpio, but Scorpio is fixed, it's passionate, it's intense. It can be a little too intense for our Sag Venus that needs that personal space and personal freedom. Again, I'm not saying that Venus and Sagittarius is not loyal or they can't have a relationship. That is totally not true. They just need a certain amount of freedom. Now, if Scorpio is willing to give them the freedom they need and they can cut back on the intensity a bit, this can work. Also, Scorpio is probably, although Sagittarius can be very lucky with money and their investments, Scorpio probably prefers that long-term knowing that they are going to be making money with their investments. And finally, we have a Sag Venus with a Sag Venus. We have our two world travelers, loving adventure, always optimistic, and maybe broke. I'm just joking, but neither one, both are willing, of course, together, they're willing to take a lot of risk with their finances, but being ruled by Jupiter, they're lucky. So this is just interesting to have a Sag Venus with the Sag Venus. And if you have this combination, tell me how it works for you, because I just see two world travelers, a house full of souvenirs from every country in the world, that kind of thing. That's what I picture with Sag and Sag together. So let me know about that one. So let's have a look at our Venus in Capricorn, our cardinal earth sign. Venus in Capricorn really values commitment and respect. They're very serious when they fall in love. They don't enter into a romantic relationship without there being a chance of it becoming something serious. They're pretty serious about love, but they are witty, believe it or not. Venus and Capricorn can be very witty. They're also very practical, realistic. They are reliable. They do value ambition. They value someone that can share their goals and ambitions. They're sensible with money, yet at the same time, they don't mind investing. They have a strategy. Again, they're ambition driven. They can be very good savers, but they can be very good investors when it comes to finances as well. And they value the long term. They're ruled by Saturn, the planet of longevity. So they value long term relationships, long term investments. These are some of the things that our Capricorn and Venus really value. They have good taste most of the time. Now, Capricorn Venus can be frugal, but they're not cheap. It's like they'd rather have something that holds its value. I'm talking about artwork. I'm talking about clothing. They'd rather have something that is good material, good quality, rather than something that's cheaper. Not saying that any of the Venus signs are cheap, but Capricorn Venus really values quality. Okay, let's see how Venus and Capricorn gets along with the other Venus signs. So first we have our other two earth signs, Taurus and Virgo, the two signs that are in harmony with Capricorn Venus. They're in a trine. They make harmonious aspects to each other because they're all earth signs, although Taurus is fixed earth and Virgo is mutable earth. So how does Capricorn Venus get along with Taurus Venus? Actually pretty well. Both Venus signs are grounded, they're practical, They can definitely get on board with each other when it comes to money. Both Taurus and Capricorn to save, they will invest, although they are very strategic about how they invest. So these two signs can actually work things out. Also, because Taurus is fixed, it values loyalty and commitment, just like Capricorn does. This is definitely a combination that works really well. And then we have our Virgo Venus with Capricorn Venus. And again, there is a practical element to it because they're both earth signs. Virgo can be frugal, just like Capricorn can, analytical, and Capricorn Venus likes that because they can come up with a good strategy together to make money or to save money. Virgo can be a bit pessimistic, maybe sometimes, but then Capricorn can too. So they actually, this combination can actually work as well. The practicality that they share and the willingness to have a strategy when it comes to their money really makes the Virgo and Capricorn combination work too. Okay, let's look at our sign in opposition, our Cancer sign, cardinal water, the two signs that are exactly opposite on the zodiac wheel. And this is a combination that actually works. They're on the family work axis together. I think Cancer can appreciate the Capricorn Venus ambition, especially if there's a true commitment involved. Cancer definitely can, they value commitment and family every bit as much as Capricorn does. So they have their value system in common. Although probably the biggest issue with these two is that Venus and Cancer would, it's a time thing, would probably rather spend more time with Venus and Capricorn. And sometimes Venus and Capricorn can be a bit of a workaholic. So that might be the only issue with the opposition. So let's look at the two signs that are not in a harmonious aspect. They're in a square or a challenging aspect to our Venus and Capricorn. And we have Aries and Libra. We have cardinal air and cardinal fire. Let's take Aries first. So cardinal signs, they start something. They initiate things. So Capricorn Venus initiates things in a practical way, in a strategic way. And it's not that Aries can't be strategic, but they definitely, they're not always practical. They're more spontaneous about things, and especially in regarding money. Now, I think the money part of this is probably the hardest part for these two signs because Aries will take the risky investment. Capricorn doesn't like that. Aries will spend on an adventurous trip, and Capricorn might want to save for a rainy day. So there can be some conflicts when it comes to money. Aries can definitely be committed and be ambitious, and Capricorn likes that. They do share some of the same values, but these signs are pretty different. There might be some difficulties. I think if you know what the difficulties are, they're easier to handle. And we have Libra. Okay, so they're definitely on the same page concerning commitment, concerning relationship. As long as things stay in harmony and balance, Libra can deal with the strategy of Capricorn when it comes to financial matters. Both definitely serious about love, although a Libra is probably a little more social, where Capricorn's a little more ambitious. But this combination can work, and I actually like it a little bit better than Capricorn with Aries. Now, everybody's different, so leave me your comments. It won't hurt my feelings if you disagree with me. I really want to hear what you have to say, okay? And don't forget to like the video because it really helps Meredith's channel. It helps Soul Navigation get out there to the public where more people can hear her fabulous videos as well. So let's take a look at the two signs that are in sextile the Capricorn, or just 2 signs away. And we have Pisces and we have Scorpio. So let's take Scorpio Venus with our Capricorn Venus, and I love it. Both of them tend to like power. Also, both of them are very committed. Scorpio Venus may be a little intense for the Capricorn Venus, but Capricorn doesn't mind as long as they're on the same page they are. And these 2 signs can definitely make money together for sure. That is one thing they have going for them 100%. And then we have our Pisces Venus with Capricorn Venus. And this could be a bit challenging because Pisces is mutable. They're more flighty. They are not as practical as the Capricorn Venus, but they definitely can make a commitment. They're not as realistic. They're a little bit more dreamy than the Capricorn Venus, but this is a combination that can work. I've seen this combination several times and it works out really well. And of course, it depends on the whole chart too. So if you would like for me to take a look at your chart and your Venus sign compatibility or the compatibility of the entire chart, it's one of my favorite things to do. And you can book a reading with me by going to teamsoulnavigation.com. Go to readers, I'm Connie Joe, or you can see how to book a reading in the notes below. I would love to look at your charts. So let's go on to our 2 signs that are in a quincunx. They're 5 signs apart, really have nothing in common with Capricorn Venus. And we have Gemini Venus and Leo Venus. So let's take our Gemini Venus. Okay, Gemini Venus, they're smart. It's an intelligent Venus sign, but they're not necessarily practical. And they prefer adventure and learning new things over saving money, for one. Also, Gemini Venus is not always about the commitment. They like the romance and the fun. They're not as serious as Venus and Capricorn. So this is a combination that's a little iffy for me. I think it can work depending on the other placements in the chart. But let me know what you think about this one. Okay, Leo and Capricorn Venus. Strangely, this one can work out. Capricorn tends to like power, and so does Leo. Both of them like nice things, although Leo can be a little bit flamboyant for the Capricorn Venus. But I have seen this combination work. I think that that Leo Venus enjoys the attention that Capricorn Venus will give them, that commitment that they'll put into the relationship, and Leo Venus loves loyalty. So this can work if they can get on the same page regarding their money. It's a workable combination. And finally, we have our 2 next door signs to our Capricorn Venus. We have Aquarius Venus and our Sagittarius Venus, one on one side of Capricorn, one on the other side. So let's start with our Sagittarius Venus with Capricorn. This one is really interesting because we have one Venus that's ruled by Saturn and the other Venus that's ruled by Jupiter. So Sagittarius definitely wants to take the risk, whether it just be in their travels and adventures or whether it's in their money. Capricorn, not so much. So it would be hard for them to get on the same page, but I just want to say that if Sagittarius could tone it down just a notch and Capricorn could be a little bit more optimistic, these 2 signs could actually work together to make something really beautiful happen. And I say this because when I see Saturn and Jupiter in a conjunction in a chart, I see someone that can be very expansive and dream big, very optimistic. But Saturn brings it back down to reality a little bit. I actually think these 2 Venus signs can work together, although it would take some adjustments on both sides. And then we have our Venus in Aquarius. This one's interesting as well. Venus Aquarius really likes their freedom. And I think a lot of this combination depends on whether Capricorn Venus can give them the freedom that they need and not be too clingy. Both signs can be a bit ambitious. Aquarius was actually ruled by Saturn, just like Capricorn, before Uranus came along. But Aquarius is very innovative and they like new things. They're not very traditional, and Capricorn really likes the traditional. This could be somewhat of a problem buying a house together, decorating, or even how they spend their money and invest money. Aquarius would want to go new school, and Capricorn would want to stay old school. And then finally, we have our Capricorn Venus with our Capricorn Venus. This would probably be a very rich couple of people, both ambitious, both committed. The only problem I see with the Capricorn Venus and Capricorn Venus is that maybe they would get a little bored with each other. They might be a little too practical, but it definitely can work. Okay, let's move on to Venus in Aquarius. Venus in Aquarius is unique. They like their personal space, they like their personal freedom, yet at the same time, they're very humanitarian, always friendly. This is a very friendly Venus sign. This is also associated with friends with benefits. They're interesting, they are not conventional. This is a very future-oriented sign. It's not very traditional usually. Generally, they're unselfish. They really value fairness, humanitarian efforts. They value the intellectual as well, being the air sign. They like to learn more about other people. It's a forward-thinking sign. Also, they're a bit unusual and definitely geared toward technology and the new. It's a very innovative Venus sign as well. They really like to be different. And once they make a commitment, they're definitely committed, they're definitely loyal. They like their freedom. So it might take a more than a minute for an Aquarius Venus to make a commitment. I think a lot of this depends on the house it's in, but once they do, they are definitely in it to win it. And money for the Aquarius, they're givers, but when it comes to investing, things like that, they want to check out everything that's new. This might be the first person to invest in a stock or to invest in something that no one else has invested in yet, that kind of thing. Let's look at our Venus and Aquarius with the other air signs. These are the signs that make a trine or a harmonious aspect to our Venus and Aquarius, and we have Libra and Gemini, our other two air signs. So let's look at Libra Aquarius with our Aquarius in our Venus in Aquarius. Libra Venus really likes relationships. Venus in Aquarius really likes freedom. Now, they're both intellectual, both air signs, and a Libra can definitely get on board with innovation and being new and everything, but Libra is a bit more traditional when it comes to their taste and when it comes to their money as well. So this combination can definitely work if there's a commitment involved, especially Aquarius, also ruled by Uranus, can be a little out there sometimes, wanting to try something new and unique. And Libra likes to keep things a little more balanced. So that could be an issue. But let's look at Gemini. Gemini Venus and Aquarius Venus really get along pretty well. Both intellectual again, both like to learn new things and very curious about new things. Both are very friendly signs. And both like their freedom. These are two Venus signs that can actually work together better than you would think. are two air signs. Now, they may remain friends or friends with benefits for life, but the combination actually works. Let's look at our opposition at Leo. Leo Venus and Aquarius Venus likes to be number one. And Aquarius is more, I guess the best word is humanitarian. They don't really pick and choose a number one. They treat everybody equally for the most part. So that could be one issue between this opposition. They're exactly opposite on the wheel, Leo and Aquarius. With money, I think they could probably work together pretty well. As long as the Venus and Aquarius was making money, the Leo Aquarius would be on board with that. Um, if they were in a committed relationship, this could work because we have two fixed energies and both of them would definitely want to stay in the relationship. But Aquarius Venus might be a little too freedom loving and a bit too rebellious for Venus and Leo. So let's move on to our two signs that are in a square or a challenging aspect. These are our other two fixed signs of Scorpio and Taurus. Let's see how they work with our Venus and Aquarius. Let's take Scorpio. This one's tough, y'all, because Venus and Aquarius truly does enjoy its freedom. They really are a friendly sign. And Venus and Scorpio is intense. And I think jealousy could come into play a bit with these two Venus signs, especially because they're fixed. They're fixed in their ideas and fixed in what they want. Although when it comes to money, I think Scorpio would really admire the innovation of the Aquarius Venus. But when it comes to love, Venus and Aquarius may be a little bit too out there for Venus and Scorpio. Let me know if you have those two signs, how that works for you. All right. And then we have our Venus and Taurus with our Venus and Aquarius. Again, it's the same thing. Venus and Taurus can be a bit possessive. Venus in Aquarius doesn't like that. They don't like jealousy. They like the freedom to do. It's not that they're disloyal, or it's not that they're going out on their person. It's just that they don't like the jealousy thing. And that could be a problem with our Venus and Taurus and our Venus and Aquarius. Venus and Taurus could be a little bit too practical for Venus and Aquarius. So it would take some adjusting on both sides to make that one work. And then we have our two signs that are in a sextile, or two signs apart from our Venus and Aquarius. And we have Aries Venus and Sagittarius Venus with Aquarius Venus. That can work all day long. It really can, because both of them have this need for freedom. Sagittarius Venus may not be as rebellious as the Aquarius Venus, but there's an understanding. They both like adventure. They're both friendly. Generally, they're both pretty optimistic. And this is a combination that can work. Our Aries Venus with Aquarius Venus, this can work too. Aries is independent, so they don't mind giving Aquarius the independence and freedom that they need. Financially, they can both, Aquarius will take risk. They like to be unique. They like to be different and try new things. And Aries is a pioneer. So they would definitely get on board trying new things together financially, or taking adventures and trips together, that kind of thing. Again, this is a combination that can work. It surprises me a bit because the sextiles sometimes actually work a little bit better than the trines do. That flowing harmonious energy, the sextiles, it just takes a little bit more work. It's still a harmonious aspect. But it's been funny to me that the sextiles work sometimes better than the trines. Since I've been doing this series, I've just found that out. Very interesting. Anyway, let's go to our inconjunct or our quincunx. And these are the signs that are 5 signs apart. They really have nothing in common at all. And we have Capricorn, we have Gemini, and we have Cancer. Okay, so our signs in quincunx are Cancer and Virgo, going with this Venus and Aquarius. Okay, I think the Virgo is very interesting because they'll try new things. They're a bit more practical than Venus and Aquarius. I think that Venus and Aquarius may be a little bit out there for Venus and Virgo because Venus and Virgo is more analytical about things. It really likes the practical a bit more, but it's also Venus and Virgo is also somewhat humanitarian. It's a very caring sign. Aquarius and Virgo do have that in common. They both truly care about their fellow human beings. Now, not that the other Venus signs don't, it's just what these 2 signs are known for. I do think it would be hard for them to get on the same page with money, as Aquarius is more spontaneous for sure than Virgo. And then we have Cancer. Again, this is, I don't know about this one because Venus and Cancer, they're very traditional. They love their home and family. Not that Venus and Aquarius doesn't, but they're more rebellious about things. They want the new, they want the unique, they want the different. And Cancer really likes keeping things traditional. The value systems are a bit different for these 2 Venus signs. Financially, they could probably get on the same page. Aquarius certainly wouldn't mind buying things for the home as long as they were unique and different. But then Cancer is going to be like, why are you bringing an 8-foot giraffe into the house? I had something else I wanted to put here that's like family pictures. I don't know. I just think these signs are almost too different to really mix well, but maybe it would be the differences that bring them together, which is what I see happening a lot with the quincunx or the inconjunct. And finally, we have our next door signs, our semi-sextiles, the ones that are on either side of Aquarius. So we have Pisces and Capricorn. So let's take a look at Capricorn first. They do have this in common. Aquarius was once ruled by Saturn, like Capricorn. But Capricorn is very practical and they're also a traditional sign. They lean more toward the family and tradition. And truly, Aquarius, they think everybody's their family. They love everybody. Not that they don't love their family, but they love their friends too, almost just as much. This is the sign that rules the 11th house of friendships and social groups. And I think they're a little bit more social than the Venus and Capricorn. Their values are just a little bit different. Capricorn just a bit too practical and traditional than for our Venus and Aquarius. And then we have Venus and Pisces with Aquarius. This is an interesting one because Venus and Pisces is go with the flow a bit. They don't mind if it's innovative and new. So they could get on board with that. Yeah, and they're not, since they're not a fixed sign, they're a mutable sign. Aquarius is a fixed sign, but they could go along with what Aquarius wants, and they're also a friendly sign. So this one could actually work if they're on the same page regarding finances. Really and truly, if they were both putting money into something that was humanitarian, charitable, I think that part of it could work for sure. So let me know if you have a Pisces Venus and your partner is Aquarius Venus or vice versa. I'd really like to know how that works. Finally, let's look at our 2 Aquarius Venuses. This one is very interesting because they may just be totally rebellious together or totally want to save the world together. You better believe that their home or their dwelling would probably be the most unique dwelling that you've ever seen. I think this all depends on what houses that the Venus and Aquarius are in. If you had a second house Venus and Aquarius, they may be a little more traditional and practical because that's in an earth house. But this combination can really work. Both have that intellectual need to be unique, rebellious qualities about them. So look for the houses, especially for this one, I think. Finally, we come to our Venus in Pisces. Pisces, always so patient, being the final sign. You may be last, but you are never least, Pisces. Venus in Pisces, first of all, Venus likes to be in Pisces. It's at its joy there. This can be a very musical Venus, very offbeat, charming, compassionate, soft hearted. This is a Venus that will come to the aid of other people without blinking an eye. But they're a little bit elusive when it comes to commitments and relationships. Sometimes they answer the phone, sometimes they don't. They may be meditating, they be listening to music. They're a little bit hard to pin down, but they're very charitable. They're very giving. They use their intuition a lot when it comes to their money, and very often they are right. They are fortunate when it comes to money. Most of the time, it's that intuition that they have, that they are at the right place at the right time, or they invest in the right investment, that kind of things. But they really value their fellow human and helping other people. They really value music. They value their own intuition. Their Venus and Pisces is actually, it's a bit magical, really. I really like this one a lot. So let's move on and see who Venus and Pisces is compatible with. And we're going to start with our two other water signs, the ones that are in a trine or harmonious aspect to our Pisces Venus. And first we have Scorpio Venus. I do think that Venus and Pisces can be a little elusive for our Scorpio Venus, although they do have this like connection with that water. Scorpio Venus can be very intuitive as well. So they have that in common. They both are very intuitive. They can almost read each other's thoughts. I think that both of these water signs may be very artistic and decorate in the same way somewhat. Also, a Scorpio may really enjoy that musical, magical side of Pisces. But when it comes to money, does Scorpio like the luck of Pisces? You better believe it. And Pisces, although everybody has to make money, some signs are more finance oriented than others. And Pisces is not as much. Do they like money? Sure, but they're ruled by Neptune. They don't have a lot of boundaries when it comes with their money sometimes. Now, I realize this depends on what house or what else is in the chart. So don't get on to me for that one, people. But money a lot of times just flows in and it flows out for the Pisces Venus. And Scorpio is fixed. It wants to know what its money is doing. So that could be an issue. And our other sign, water sign that's in trine is Cancer. This one can definitely work. Although, again, the elusiveness of Pisces, Cancer wants things to be set. They are not a fixed sign. They're a cardinal sign, but they are a sign of tradition and commitment. And Pisces, not so much. So they could be, again, a little elusive for our Cancer. Both of them, I think, could just get lost in each other. There's a romantic side to Pisces Venus and also to Cancer Venus. And I think that they would do whatever they could to make it work no matter what. Okay, let's look at our opposition. We have our Venus in Virgo. They are opposite each other on the zodiac wheel. I think this is where we have to balance the practicality of Virgo with the go with the flowness of Pisces. It's not that Virgo can't be spiritual, because they most certainly can, and they can also be very intuitive. Most Virgos have a high emotional IQ. They can read people really well. Yeah, they can. But they may be a little bit too analytical for our Pisces. And when it comes to money, I think that they want something a bit more grounded and practical. Virgo does. But both of Virgo has a romantic side. So both of them can be romantic together. And this can work. This is a combination that can work. A lot of that is because they're both mutable signs. They're not stuck in something, or they don't have to be first, that kind of thing. It is a combination that can work, but I think it depends on the other placements in the chart. So next we have our two signs that are in a square or challenging aspect to our Pisces Venus. We have our Gemini Venus and our Sagittarius Venus. Now, these are combinations, I think both of them can work. Gemini Venus is friendly, it is social. Gemini Venus is also very curious. Pisces buys into that. There's like this a common ground they share, the twins and the fish, where they just live and let live a little bit. It's cool. And I think that these two signs can work together pretty well. They're going to have a few differences, especially maybe when it comes to money. But Gemini really was the fortunate aspect to Pisces investments, and how that they can get very lucky with their intuition. And then Sagittarius. Again, even though it's a square, a challenging aspect, this one can work too. It's like Pisces was once ruled by Jupiter before Neptune came along. So they have Jupiter in common. Both of them can be lucky, but Pisces is a little bit more intuitive. Now, this isn't always the case, but Sagittarius is maybe more adventurous than Pisces is. But yet, I think this could work. With that Jupiter they have in common, I think both of them can be very optimistic. It may be hard to pin either one of them down in a relationship. Not that they're unfaithful, but they both like their freedom, but in a different way. Although I do think Sag Venus and Pisces Venus can work together. And next, we have our sextiles, or our signs that are two signs apart. We have Capricorn Venus and Taurus Venus. So these are interesting ones. Taurus Venus, being fixed Earth, may be a little too practical for our Pisces. Our Pisces, it's like Pisces likes freedom. They're magical. And I think Taurus likes that. I think they enjoy that. And actually, these two signs usually get along together. But when it comes to Venus, I think money might be the issue, because Taurus can be a bit more grounded and practical. And Pisces would probably go along with that, right? But they are a little bit more free flowing with their money than Taurus is. And then we have Capricorn. And I think again, with it, it comes down to being practical. Pisces may not be practical enough for the ambitious Capricorn Venus. Does Capricorn like the romance? Of course. Who doesn't? But I think when it comes to money and tradition, even, Pisces isn't really traditional. They're not really forward thinking either, but they are. They can be both. They go with the flow. And Pisces, excuse me, Capricorn really likes the stability. So in this case, this is weird, the sextiles may not work out quite as well, although traditionally earth and water go together. Definitely they can work, combinations that are workable. I think the money part of it might be the key to making those signs, Taurus and Capricorn, work with our Venus and Pisces. So next we have our signs that are in a quincunx or inconjunct. Man, I've been saying this for a lot. Quincunx, inconjunct, sextile, trine. But I want each sign to have equal time and to really get to see how each Venus sign works with their Venus sign. So I'm sorry I sound a bit repetitive. I just want everybody to be equal. Maybe that's my Venus sign talking. Okay, we have Leo, 5 signs apart, and we also have Libra, 5 signs apart from our Pisces. This is so weird because these are combinations that I have seen in real life work over and over again. It's like there's a romance when it comes to Leo. Venus loves romance. So does Pisces Venus. It's like they almost get lost in each other just a bit. It is so interesting how they work. Now, Leo Venus expects loyalty. And sometimes, as I've said, Pisces Venus is a little bit harder to pin down. They're swimming through the Neptunian seas. But for some reason, these two Venus signs can actually get along. They actually work together. There's just something very romantic and sweet about how Leo and Pisces can work together. And then we have Libra. Again, Libra likes romance too. They can get a little bit too intellectual, maybe, for the Venus and Pisces. Venus and Pisces is a little bit more intuitive. Not that Libra's not, but they can strike a happy balance with each other. Again, this is the combination that I've seen work over and over again. And why? I'm not sure. I'm really not, because they are so very different. But I think Libra wants things harmonious, and Pisces does too. They really do. And for some reason, I just think like Leo and Pisces, they can just get lost in each other. If they can get their finances on the same page, I think this is another combination that can work. And next we have our next door signs, or our signs that are semi-sextile on either side of Pisces Venus. And we have Aries Venus and Aquarius Venus. Okay, let's start with Aries and Pisces. Wow, they are really different. Both of them can be a little impulsive, spur of the moment, have a bit of an adventurous side to them. I'm not positive that Pisces would enjoy all of the risk taking that Aries would take, but they wouldn't. They could deal with it better than a lot of the other signs could. Let me say that. It's almost like Pisces can work with every sign in a way. Isn't that weird? Because haven't you heard this before, that Pisces has a little bit of every sign in them since they're the last sign? I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, they can almost work with any sign. And they can work with Aries, but Aries is more straightforward, more pioneering. Pisces is softer, more romantic, maybe. And Aries may come on a little bit too strong for Pisces. Anyway, I do think this is a combination that can work. And then we have our Aquarius with Pisces. This is so funny because I can just see these two, they're going down the same road. They don't even have to talk. They're just like, Aquarius Venus is enjoying their freedom and personal space, and Pisces Venus is or singing songs to themselves in their very magical way. Yes, this is a combination that can actually work, because Venus and Aquarius can be a very unique and innovative, but so can Pisces. It can be very unique as well. And I don't know why this combination works. Again, it's so weird, the signs that will actually work together when it comes to Venus. Again, our values, our money, what we aesthetically find pleasing and attractive. But I think that there's a charm about Venus and Aquarius, and there's also a charm about Venus and Pisces. This is a combination that could work. And finally, we have our Venus and Pisces with Venus and Pisces. Okay, don't you think this would be the most lovely, romantic, magical, musical, probably combination of all? They may have a problem in the money department because maybe neither one of them wants to take care of the finances. I don't know. Or maybe both of them are just very lucky with their finances. They use that intuition. But I kind of love this combination because it's almost like they have that special telepathy between them. Like they can read each other's thoughts and they know what each other are thinking. And I actually like this one. And if you have this one, I would really love to hear your comments about that. I don't know if I've done, I'm trying to think of a reading that I've done that there were two Pisces Venus, but I think it would actually work really well together. Everybody, I hope that you've enjoyed this series of our Venus compatibility. Again, if you would like me to look at your charts personally, I would love to have a reading with you, and you can contact me through the notes below. I'm Connie Joe. I've enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon. Bye from Florida.